don't want to be strong like man who look pretty. I want to be strong like bitch that fight bears in the forest.
Welcome to another episode of Bitch vs. Bear with your hosts, Amber, me, and me, Sydney, co-owners of Showmate and Trading Co. This is a show where we bitch, laugh, and chat about all things fitness related to women and the LGBTQIA plus community, which is kind of the theme of this, whole month.
Yeah. And at least half the show.
All gay, all the time.
As opposed to our usual show, which is mostly gay most of the time.
Yeah, exactly. It's great. It's great. Okay.
I agree.
Awesome. So this is going to be a little disclaimer for we introduce ourselves this way since I don't know when we started this intro.
We finally got our shit together at like episode 10 or 11, I think.
And we're in the like 30s now.
Okay, maybe it was later than 10.
Okay. But we did want, since this is all gay all the time this month, we wanted to do kind of a remember what that Alphabet Mafia actually stands for.
Yes.
The euphemism Alphabet Mafia is for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, intersex, and asexual. That's what LGBTQIA is. The plus sign at the end can include members of other communities, including allies. So people like Amber, me. So people who support and rally around the LGBTQIA cause, even though they don't identify within the community itself.
Much to our regret.
Yeah. We love our allies.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
We love our gays.
Yeah. It's a big month for allies. Like, I think that sometimes it gets glossed over in June, how important the allies are. So we're going to have an episode this month which focuses on allies. Because they should get some big shout outs too.
I mean, to be fair, as members of the straight community, the rest of the year is also ours. This is kind of your month.
True.
Okay. So we want to talk about this week the history of Pride Month.
Yeah.
And how that can connect to the fitness community. So June is recognized as Pride Month and is dedicated to celebrating and advocating for the Alphabet Mafia in that community. It originated from the commemoration of the Stonewall riots, which took place in June of 1969. These riots are considered a pivotal moment in LGBTQIA plus movement, in the LGBTQIA plus movement. Pride Month has evolved into a global movement, that promotes acceptance, visibility, and equality for all LGBTQIA plus individuals. At the time, individuals in the LGBTQ plus community faced widespread discrimination. I feel like perhaps this is not just at that time. Widespread discrimination, oppression, and frequent harassment and raids from the police. A popular gay bar, the Stonewall Inn, was frequently targeted by police, and on the night of June 28th, 1969, the patrons, including many drag queens, which were often not well received at other gay and lesbian bars, fought back against police, which subsequently turned into days of protest. Yes. Go drag queens.
So when you see online and people are like, oh, Pride Month, it was a riot.
It was a riot.
It was a riot. That's what started it.
They finally had enough and fought back.
Yeah.
Which is great. So the 1-year anniversary of Stonewall, June 28th in 1970, held what is considered the first Pride Parade. Awesome. Thousands of people marched from Stonewall Inn, Manhattan, to Central Park, and it was called the Christopher Street Liberation Day. And the official chant was, "Say it loud, gay is proud." Yes, I love that.
Yeah.
However, it wasn't until the mid-90s, so 30 years later, that an annual observance of Pride Month actually began in the United States.
Yeah. Yeah. So a lot of individual communities, San Francisco, New York, those who had large populations of the community would hold their own kind of celebration year after year, but it wasn't until the mid 90s that it was kind of
Made more of a national official.
yes,
official.
made an official thing. Yeah, official in air quotes, everyone.
Yeah. Because we still haven't figured out the video thing.
Yeah. So that's the history, a little bit of the history.
Very brief.
There's a very brief history. However, there is a significantly long history of same-sex love, sexuality, all these things throughout time. So this is not new. Like,
Oh God, no.
yeah, it's not new. And I think people sometimes get that confused of like, oh, Pride is a relatively new concept, which yes, the like annual observances, but
Yeah. What we know today is Pride.
yes. However, those other things have been around a long time.
Yeah.
So
The gays are not new.
yeah, no, not.
I don't
new.
care what your great grandfather says.
Yeah.
They are not new.
They're not coming out of the woodwork. They've always been there. So there are records from ancient times from many cultures and religions of the world. Japan, for example, has records dating back to ancient times of men having sex with other men. And it wasn't until 1873 when the Ministry of Justice passed a sodomy law criminalizing homosexual practices.
Rude.
Indigenous peoples in the Americas prior to the colonization from Europe
Also rude.
had many respected roles for homosexuals, bisexuals, and gender nonconforming individuals.
Mhm.
And of course, ancient Greek, Romans, and Celts all had forms of same-sex love. Usually
Yes.
what it had was mature males with younger males until they came of age. So until they were ready to marry. And most of the times it was happening jointly, like the people would still marry and also have same-sex relationships. So it was a lot more of like there was a lot of commingling, as one would say, going on.
A lot more fluidity.
Yeah, there was a lot more fluidity. And we talk and we joke about like sexuality as is fluid and all these things. And people are like, oh, the youth today, they're all queer. It's like, no, there's always been a lot of fluidity.
Yeah. Youth today are just no longer maybe as scared, as closeted
Yeah.
about it. It is no longer quite as stigmatized with folks our generation and younger.
Yeah.
So people are more willing to be whoever they are.
Yeah. So it's, again, not a new concept. Yeah. It was really up until the Renaissance that homosexual relationships were commonplace. It was during the Renaissance period when homosexual activities go from being completely legal in most of Europe to intense oppression and incurring the death penalty. I will give you one guess, Amber, as to what, I don't want to give it away, what organization, we'll call it, had the biggest influence in the Renaissance that probably changed the tide of this.
Could it have been Christianity?
It could, specifically Catholicism.
Yes.
So the Catholic Church. So other religions, Judaism has, there were some of that, but in a lot of religions, it wasn't necessarily drawn to attention. Like there wasn't like scripture that was saying, don't do this. However, there were some religions that explicitly did state it, and Catholicism grabbed onto that and really kind of during the Renaissance brought it into the mainstream of like, this is a no-no. Yeah.
That's a whole other
episode. That's a whole other episode.
Religion and that's not the focus of this show.
No, not this one. Okay, so up until the Renaissance, and then post-Renaissance even, places in Europe still had thriving communities. This one might blow your socks off, everyone, but Germany was a huge LGBTQIA plus community all throughout Germany, Berlin especially. Of course, this was prior to the Third Reich, so prior to, Hitler and Nazis.
Yeah.
It it remained really liberal and open-minded. Berlin had a ton of gay bars, cabarets, nightclubs, and drag bars. People frequented drag bars, both male and female, and partook in drag themselves as part of the like nightlife scene. Yeah, super
Okay, well,
cool.
now I don't know.
This was like
I
19.
have a whole different view of Germany.
Yeah,
Like,
no.
that sounds like a cool place to be.
Right. It also had an active LGBTQ plus civil rights movement prior to the Third Reich, and had several newspaper publications for both lesbian and gay men.
Wow.
So like there was dispersing of information, there was places for them to go, to be seen, to be together, and have a sense of community. It was Hitler
Hmm.
and his, I'll call it his book.
His book.
His book.
Okay.
That denounced homosexuality, among other cultural degradation. So, you know, Poles, Jews, transgender, yeah, the whole,
All the people.
everybody, really. So, under Nazi Germany, 50,000 men were sent to concentration camps and died because of their homosexuality.
Oh.
However, and I found this really fascinating in my research, female homosexuality was not technically a crime. Therefore, a lot of lesbians escape the harsh punishment of their male counterparts. There are some reports that women were imprisoned, but most accounts state that the imprisonment was for other reasons. So it may be for hiding gay men. It was a whole other thing. So I thought that was kind of fascinating. Like,
it is interesting.
Yeah, bad for you. You're okay. Like,
well, I think it goes back to who did we talk about that with? Lauren?
Yeah.
And that whole male gaze, right? Like, to men, they're like, oh, 2 women. That's okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
We like to see that.
We can get behind that.
But 2 men, oh God, no.
Oh God, no.
Impossibly.
Yeah. So it's really interesting to see throughout time the history of same-sex love and relationships. And it obviously in America, we have a lot of Puritanism that came from Europe and the Renaissance. And yeah. So, but in Europe, up until, I mean, you know, early last century, there was, I mean, less than 100 years ago, or
Good
right
God.
around 100 years ago, it was totally,
it was okay.
Yeah, it was a scene. It was a whole thing. People got behind it.
It's a place to go, apparently. Man,
who knew?
That's very different thoughts about Germany.
Right?
Okay, so what is the importance of education and awareness around Pride Month?
I don't know, Amber. What is it? You tell us.
It's usually my line. I don't know, Sydney. Let's see what you wrote.
Yes.
Okay, so Pride Month serves several important purposes. First, it provides an opportunity for LGBTQIA plus individuals to openly express their identities, find support, and connect with others who share similar experiences. It can help foster a sense of community and belonging.
Oh, who doesn't love to feel like they belong?
They should. And I mean, I obviously don't know from personal experience. I would imagine that a lot of folks, and maybe not a lot, maybe fewer now, I don't know, can feel alienated from family and their support systems when they do come out and maybe are from families or communities that do not support them.
Yeah. Definitely. I think, I mean, as much as we would like to say that it doesn't happen that frequently anymore, it definitely does. And it's really important for awareness and for all of, you know, that sense of community and belonging to see active things going on, like pride parades, like having special events and things during that month, because, you know, like you said, every other month is for everybody else. And
I mean, it shouldn't be that way, but this is the world we live in.
Yeah. And also, to be fair, we don't want it to necessarily be like, oh, well, you get 1 month. So there you go.
That's all you get. Now go back into your closet.
Yeah. Aren't you excited? We gave you a month.
Yeah. We should be proud and supporting our Alphabet Mafia friends year round.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Obviously. Pride Month raises awareness about LGBTQIA plus issues and highlights the ongoing struggles for equality. Like we've talked about this in several episodes that we there are no laws on the books that protect specifically LGBTQIA folks, and it's still legal to discriminate and do all kinds of things. So
It still blows my mind.
yeah, we're still fighting for legal protections and promoting healthcare and social services. So the month, what it does is it encourages education and a dialogue to kind of challenge the stereotypes and prejudices and mostly misinformation.
Mm.
We live in a world where there's misinformation flying all over the place. And
Hashtag fake news.
yeah, hashtag fake news. So it's having a month dedicated really helps to spread that awareness and combat those misinformation and discrimination. As you can, there's a lot of it going around recently. And for those of us who are not aware, you should go to social media. Target.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And finally, Pride Month sends a powerful message of acceptance, inclusion, and love to LGBTQIA plus individuals who may still be facing rejection or marginalization in their everyday lives.
It absolutely does. So if you're listening to this and you have not gone to a Pride event or a parade, we encourage it. It's lots of fun.
Oh my gosh. I went to one with you all in Portland and it was a blast.
Yeah.
It was so much fun.
There's all kinds of things going on and you see all kinds of different people. And that's really what it is, like getting outside of our bubbles. The parade as it started was, a commemoration, but as it evolved before social media and those things, it was a way to showcase all of the different identities and personalities that are out there and get outside of your normal bubble. Yeah. Obviously, with social media and things like that, we have the reach to see different people, but this brings it home to our community. These are people that live there, who are close by, who you can actually interact with on a daily basis if you want to. So Pride is an awesome event. And if you get a chance to go, you 100% should.
Yeah. If you're an ally, absolutely do it. Like go show your support, be there for the members of the community.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's important to note that while significant progress has been made in the fight for LGBTQIA rights, challenges and inequities still persist. Pride Month continues to serve as a reminder that the struggle for equality and acceptance is an ongoing one, and that the LGBTQIA plus community deserves respect, dignity, and equal rights in all aspects of life.
Yes.
All aspects of life.
All of them.
All of them.
All the people, all the aspects.
And my personal request is if you don't currently fly a gay pride flag, do so in your communities, especially now with everything that's going on. What it does is it allows people in the community to know that there are safe places to go. If nothing else, at this bare minimum of okay, if things get really bad, that place is okay. Whether it's a business, whether it's a personal home, let your gay flag fly, honestly. And, there's a lot of things that as somebody in the community that I look for, one of the things that I look for is where the flag is being, it's one of those things where I'm like, okay, if the shit hits the fan, where can I go?
Yeah. Where's that flag?
Where's that flag? Because that is just the best indicator. So if you don't have one, I highly recommend that you get one. You can order them online. You can go to Lowe's, by the way, Lowe's is an LGBTQIA supporting business. So go to Lowe's. They also have DEI in their CEO and their C-suite. So if you're going to
good news for my mom, you can still shop there.
Yeah. It's good news. Those big box stores, sometimes you can be a little, but Lowe's, we're
good with Lowe's.
Yeah.
Great. Is that where you can get a flag?
You can get a flag there, and you can get a flagpole. I know because I scouted one today. Because I have a flag, but I don't have a flagpole.
So you have no way to let your gay flag.
Should just put it.
Just take it to the house.
I did think of putting it on the mailbox, like down below, just like screwing into items, like hanging it. But then I think it's too long.
Oh, you can't have it drag.
You can't have no. Don't tatter the gay flag.
And there's so many different flags you can get too.
There are, yes.
There's a whole plethora for you to choose from.
There is. You know, if you live in a community where maybe you don't feel safe flying one, there are stickers that you can put on your door that are little gay flags.
Love a sticker.
So there's those little things that are good identifiers.
And if you're interested in learning more about Pride Month, which I would highly encourage because it's super interesting, and the history of the LGBTQIA plus community, check out the podcast Making Gay History.
One of my favorite podcasts.
Yeah, I have not listened to it yet. I will put that on my list along with the other one that you told me to listen to.
I just make a list for Amber.
Yeah, and keep listening. Listening to us, share us with your friends. We're going to keep exploring all the gay things related to fitness. Just related to fitness.
Yeah, I was like, what? We are? Okay.
All gay all the time.
All gay all the time. All right.
That's June.
Well, till next week for more gay things.
Related to fitness.
Related to fitness. This is not that kind of podcast, people.